Hello and welcome back to the Adobe Live Portfolio Reviews. My favorite part of this whole OFF conference here in Barcelona. I'm Melanie, I will host this session, and we have wonderful guests here today. Gemma is still with us, Gemma Bryan. So good to have you here, and we have the lovely Anja Grohmann here.
Hello, nice to meet you. Hi.
You're both artists and designers, so I'm very excited for this review. Anja, can you tell us a bit about yourself maybe, and how you got into this, and what are your questions for Gemma?
So many questions, but yeah. Let's start with me. Hi, I'm Anja. I'm an illustrator and designer from Austria. And I started as a graphic designer, my roots are back in the graphic design, and like a few years from now I had the feeling to go beyond graphic design, keep exploring, use color, use brushes, and so I started to do murals and dive into the lettering parts, I participated in 36 Days of Types and stuff like that, so I tried to explore a little bit more. So yeah, I kind of went off the graphic design and want to dig in more into murals and lettering and illustration and have fun, explore, and yeah, I'm so happy to be here today to get feedback.
I have the feeling that this explorative vibe is the absolute mantra of this OFF festival, because everyone is happy to explore and wants to get out and do new things. Speaking of new things, your website is pretty new, isn't it?
Yes, I kind of went live 1 hour before my plane left.
Oh, super
it was
new.
okay.
Yeah,
so yeah, we'll see.
Show us around on your new website. It's a new home of Anja Grohmann, so we want to see more.
Yeah, I thought it's nice to introduce, when people come to your website, it's nice to introduce myself in a quick way, and that was, in my opinion, to use a header, a welcome thing that shows what I do and what I want to do, especially. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excited to see your work.
Yeah, so this was I don't know where to start, but I just start on.
Should we maybe ask Gemma where we should start? Or we could also ask the chat, but you will decide today. For anyone who's in the chat, feel free to also ask your questions. And in case you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel or hop over to Behance to ask questions. But now the stage is yours again. Gemma, what are we looking at?
Well, I'm curious to hear, I love the idea that you shifted from, graphic design into more lettering and murals. So I would love to begin with a project that you feel most proud of, or something that you've worked on recently where you're wow, this really came together.
Yes, so I think we should go for this one.
Okay.
It's German, but it's still I like it. It's for Design Austria, which is the design, how do you say that? It's representing designers in Austria, and I did the back cover, and they sent me a quote, which is always also in German, but
yeah. So what does it mean? Can you do a translation?
Yes, so let's just check. I did it in English as well, so that's maybe a little bit easier. Let's use the power of design for the implementation of sustainable solutions. And first I had the ideas to do more of illustrating it, but then I thought, why not use the words and put them in the center?
Cool.
So I tried to play around with the colors a bit, so put in a few sketches as well.
And these were the initial sketches that you shared with the client?
Yes.
Yeah?
Well, no, not all of them. That was the sketches I did for me, to find out which way to go, and then after that, I refined them, 3 of them, and sent them. So yes, so that was the finished one, and I'm I like it because it's the color poppy, and yes.
Yeah, I love how you've used, I think using words as images, to fill the space, with the curves and
yeah.
It's often harder than it looks. I think when you see typography that becomes the image, it's easy to write it off as being easy, but to actually get things working together is quite a challenge. So I think it's great. I also love the different styles. I particularly like, the playfulness of a lot of these. Are they basically lettering? or did you use any existing fonts? It's just all
I just draw through all of it, because that's what I like about drawing letters. You can do any form, and like anything you want to say, you can say something through the letter form. So that's what I like about it. Yes.
It's cool. And I'm also curious, when you explore, like in your options, colorways, like do you explore different colorways?
I tried a lot of colors because I'm still like, I heard your talk yesterday, and it's just like I'm really very insecure with use of color. So I always have to try a bunch of different versions and combinations, and
Why do you think that you're insecure with the use of color? Out of curiosity,
because there are so many.
Was insecure with the use of color, who's overcome it. But what
there
is
are so many, and
too many options?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's like too many options, and which one go well together.
Yeah.
I don't know how that was for you, but
I found that that one way that I became more comfortable using color was every time I saw color that I liked, like color combinations that I liked, whether it was in nature or in a pattern or on this Adobe wall over here, whatever it was, I'd photograph it. I didn't have to know why. I didn't have to know like the color wheel or why they worked. I just knew that I liked the feeling and collected all of those to have like a library. And I think the cool thing with color is, obviously we're always inspired by work, and you want to be, you emulate things that you like, but you don't want to copy. But with color, I feel like because designs can be so different, you can copy color forms from nature and it kind of translates. So it's about getting the feeling. So like with this piece, for example, like I love like the lettering and the style, and I would just be like curious to see like other like color variations.
Okay, that's a good input.
It's cool. Have you got something else to show me? Yes.
Let's
we actually have some feedback from the chat, and here also. Well, the feedback is it doesn't look too insecure about color at all because it's so vibrant.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, it was a long way until I was there. So
very good to hear. Well, let's have a look at another project maybe. We also have a recommendation here from the chat. They say the second one looks interesting.
The second one?
Oh, we've got like an audience. Is it this one?
Oh, the beer?
Yeah.
We've got a beer lover in the audience. Welcome.
Yes,
Hi.
this was like a really fun project, because they wanted me to play around with colors and funny characters. So I actually did the lettering for the logo as well. So, yeah.
So did you do the logo first and then the packaging came afterwards?
Yes, we kind of combined it, but I knew how they wanted it to look like, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can I see,
really
does it
fun.
also have the sketches as well?
No. Oh, well, there are
but
like
the illustrations.
Yes.
See, I actually think like your color is it's great. Like it's great.
Thank
here.
you.
It's like bright and poppy, and it's very cool. Is it a hop for the O?
Yes.
I always love an illustration feature as a letter. That's always
it's really
lovely.
fun. And I'm like, they were really open with it. Like they were like, yeah, that's like nice. I like it. I like the idea. I like the characters. Like it was a real fun project. So
it's cool.
Yeah.
I think the cool thing that I like about your lettering is that I found that when I started doing my initial lettering, like it became more refined, like over time, and lost a bit of like my personality. Whereas I feel like it still has that personality, but looks slick, like in the context, which I think is a good like thing to balance. Is like quirkiness, but also like legibility, and I think it's really cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other like specific questions or struggles, like
maybe
struggles
like
in the project or
in this project? No.
No,
this
easy,
was
smooth sailing.
yeah. Well, this
Living
was
the dream.
more like a fun project because they said like feel free and play around, So I think that was like the best thing that could happen for that project because
and the best and the worst project at the same time. No boundaries can be good and a bad thing.
And out of curiosity, what's your process? Like, do you like draw digitally? Do you draw by hand? Scan? What programs do you use?
I
Adobe
like
only?
to start analog.
Yes.
But like if I do personal work, I start analog.
Uh-huh.
Also for stuff like this, I would always like to start analog, but it's way quicker if I do it like digitally.
Yep.
So especially if it's paid work, right? So it's a little bit more efficient to start digitally, but yeah.
Cool.
But
Can
then
we see more? I'm excited. I'm curious to see, like, now that, because they're quite different like projects. I'm kind of curious to see, like, do you think that you have a style? Like, if you had to define like your body of work to like an audience or a client, like what are your key things?
I think what makes is for me like the most or best thing is like having fun, play, explore, also collaborating with other artists is like, I just love to learn, love to grow, and just get out of my comfort zone, I guess.
Playfulness.
Yes.
Experimentation, learning.
Yeah. It's a good combination.
I'm curious to see this one because I feel this is like slightly different in a good way, but like it shows that you've got like versatility. You know, tell me a little bit about this.
It's a small wine brand in Austria, Burgenland. Yeah, really really good. And they asked me to help them out with the design and the layout and the illustrations for some of their wines. But they had already like a specific idea in mind, so that's why it looks a bit different.
Okay. So would you say that this is like feels like less of your style, or you still feel connected to it creatively?
I still feel connected because, as I said, I like to try out new things, dive in new stuff, you know. So it's still me. Yeah. It's just a little bit different.
I actually quite like, I know we've been talking about color a lot, but like sometimes I think the subtle, like fewer, like limited color palettes can be quite powerful.
Yes.
And I like the earthy tones. Maybe my Australian influences coming in here with being drawn to that particular project. But cool. I'd love to see a bit more just so that we can like within the time frame, like I can get a overall picture of your portfolio. How are you feeling? Are you okay?
Yes, good. I'm very good.
That's good to hear. I actually have a question. Sorry. Related to that. Because your style is very recognizable. I will have a sip of water. I lost my voice partying yesterday. Not really. You have a very recognizable style. And Anja showed a couple of different projects now. How important is it to have a very recognizable style?
I think like style is such a like it's an unavoidable topic like in the visual world because like you become like your personality influences your style, your interests, like there's so many different things that come into it. But one thing that I realized having a career that's like spanned a longer period of time now is that your style like evolves naturally from like the things that you do a lot. So whatever you repeat because either you like, you know, if you like working that way, it creates a particular style. The tools that you use create a particular style. Obviously client work or the things that other people want that you replicate yourself makes a style. So there's all these different things coming in, right? And at any moment you can like tinker with one of them. So if like I'm working a lot digitally, I start to sometimes feel it becomes too refined. So I'll like tweak the tool, you know, lever to up the analog way, or like try oil pastels to try another way. So I think that for me, like some people say you've got a distinct style, but I like to think that like maybe lettering, typography and words and language is like the core of my stuff, then maybe nature, but that hopefully there's a bit of room to move. Because I think it's okay to change over time. Like being a human, you know, what you make is an extension of you and your ideas. So naturally it might change over time. Oh, should we talk about a mural? Because we haven't done any mural stuff.
Yeah, right.
Maybe, you choose.
I mean, that was like my first one. That's when I tried it out in my own office. So it's like my
make it fun
motivational mantra.
Yes.
And that's when I found out like I love to draw like big, you know?
Yeah.
It was so much fun, and so now I try to get more jobs like that.
Quick question, why do you like to draw big?
It's like, I don't know, to break out. It's just get away from the screen and the small thing and just use a brush and just make these huge strokes, you know, use the whole body.
Yes.
So it's
approved.
The feeling.
Correct answer.
Yeah, it's really nice. And then to
design
see
with your whole body.
Yeah, to see the illustration you had on the small stuff, like in big, is awesome. But I mean, yes.
I think I would love to see like this would be like a really cool alphabet. Like I'm imagining like an alphabet poster, like A to Z, like portrait. I can see that. Like I can see people buying that, or even on the wall. I just think it's I can see it as a cool alphabet.
So yeah.
Gemma, you have so much experience with murals. What's a recommendation for Anya to get even more into this field?
Well, I'm curious actually. So was this the first one that you ever did, large
Yes.
scale? And so how did you feel in that process? Like, how did you get it onto the wall, for starters?
With a beamer.
Is it a projector?
Yeah, a projector.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
beamer.
sorry.
That's
Sorry.
a cool word. I'm going to call mine a
German
beamer
word.
now. It's cool.
Yeah, and then I did it like, I didn't hurry myself, so I just gave it a try and listened to, like, watched YouTube tutorials and stuff. So just found my way there, and yeah.
And how long did it take?
This one not too long, I guess. It was like 1 day, maybe.
And with the paints, did you like have to do multiple coats, or was it like quite opaque? How did you choose what paints you were using?
I just dived in and tried it.
Good.
It was like acrylic paint.
Yeah,
and just
love it
with the brush. It was
I
just
think
a
that's
trial
the
and
best
error
way
thing.
is to begin, and then you find out what works. And I think, like, you know, I over the time worked out, okay, this is the brush that feels good. But you know, everyone's different as well, and like different processes. I always like to think with murals, like, you choose the tools that reflect the way that you work. So if you like doing like fine lines, then you want a controlled brush. But yeah, is there more murals? Can you show me another?
Yeah. Well, I have the actual, like the more on the Instagram probably, because I'm kind of working on one, but it's not finished yet.
Okay.
This is like, if we go there, it's this one. It's a video. I'm not sure if
let's try.
it's working, but
oh, cool.
Yeah,
so you're in a stairwell.
yeah, and it's like making a
curve.
Yeah, it's so hard to plan out, but yeah, it was so much fun, and it's still not finished, so there's going to be more of this.
Great.
But
and how did you find working in, like, you know, a challenging space?
Yeah, challenging.
What was your method? Same method? Using a beamer? No beamer? Okay.
No, it wasn't possible because it was like too tight, so I all freestyled all of it with chalk.
That's
and
great.
then I just, I had a lot of helpers, so I connected to the thing you said yesterday, like get to talk and work with people. You know, it's the best. Yeah, so that was like the last one.
Great.
Maybe also this one.
We've seen two very different projects now.
Yeah.
One that's got
Sorry.
a lot of details, and the other one was very with solid colors. What's the amount of detail you can add to a mural? Because yours are rather detailed.
Very detailed, yes.
I think that, you know, I love working in that high level of detail. It was the way that I began drawing. And then obviously when I started on murals, it just translated. But it is very time consuming. But I do think over the years, like, I've worked out ways, you know, working with assistants, it's like, how can you create a high level of detail in a short amount of time? Or, you know, navigating that space or different colors. I think that, like, with your work, like, sometimes you don't need a lot of detail to have impact, and that's where color comes in as well, or like even like design, like this, you know, something like this, the way that you use symmetry, like in this piece, that could be replicated with like really intricate details, but from a distance it still has the same impact. So if you can get like a really nice silhouette on your initial sketch, like, that always translates well to a mural. And then I think that if you're working, especially, I think sometimes graphic designers have an advantage with working with large scale pieces, because if you have to design really small, like a logo or like a, you know, something that has to exist in a really small space, you've really got to like hone in, like, what does this silhouette look like? And then in an outdoor space or a big mural, then when you step back, it's that same kind of idea. So yeah, but I'm curious to hear, like, what are your like creative goals? Like, you said you transferred your business, like, other than like your values of like fun and playfulness and learning, like, is there a particular clientele that you're like trying to capture with your work, or are you just happy to continue to learn and grow through your projects and, you know, collaborate with like-minded clients?
Yeah, I don't think there's like a special client I would like. It's just the energy. I would love to work for someone or make a mural for a company that's like in the same, how do you say that? You know, where the chemistry is like
shared vision.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they're like as excited as I am about it, you know. So, yeah, I think that's huge mural of, like really huge mural. That's like a big step forward. So that would be, right now it's just like it's huge already, right? For me, it is like big, 4 to 3 meter wall.
Yeah,
but
this is cool.
there's like.
This is the biggest one you've done, other than
Yes.
this?
Yeah, right. Little more details here, so. But yeah, so I'm trying bigger and also more details probably. So if you have any tips for that, but.
A tip for how to incorporate more detail
Yes.
into your work? I would say 2 angles, like from a lettering perspective, like you can get more detail through refinement. So like whether it's like script, working in script or working in like sans serif styles, a great way is to look at existing examples, even from history, like going back to like, you know, books from like 18th century, 19th century where they've got these intricate like drop caps, or like William Morris and like the arts and craft movement, and they have these interwoven text, and it was amazing examples. And that's, I think, a good way to learn, is to like replicate where this detail exists in experimentation and then somehow make it your own, so it's not copying. And then I think with illustration with detail, I'm actually on this journey right now where I'm like, okay, I want to up my skills of adding detail, drawing from life. Like I have a very specific method where I, you know, use fine liner, black and white, often photograph, play with contrast, trace, redraw. I've got this process. But I want to have that experience drawing from life, so I'm going back to basics and like learning, you know, analog, old school drawing skills. So I think it's like one of your values is learning.
Yeah.
I think a way to get more detail is to like look at high quality examples and then also like, you know, continue to improve your practice in ways each day.
Right.
But yeah, I think keep going.
Awesome.
It's
Yeah,
great.
okay. Thank you.
I think this is the perfect closing for this session.
Oh.
Super sorry. Thank you so much for your time.
No
Thank you.
worries.
Yeah, great
Thank
work.
you so much.
Thank
Can't wait
you
to
for
see more.
sharing. It's scary to share your work, so good on you.
Thank you.
For everyone else, please stick around. We have more portfolio reviews coming up, and Gemma will stick with us for another one. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes, and thank you, and see you in about 5 minutes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.